Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So good to be back here. In 2025, here we are. The beginning of a new year, January. We're actually at the quarter pole of the century. So we're a quarter of a way into a century. And I don't know about you, but it kind of feels like we're at a fork in the road as humanity, maybe as a country, and there's different ways we could go. And I'm not sure what's happening sometimes. I'm not sure what we're doing as humanity, as a country. And I know there's a lot of us that are, on a spiritual journey. We're really committed to our development, our spiritual progression. And there's other people, I'm not sure what they're doing, and I don't even want to give much attention to the confusion or the disorder or the anger, whatever's going on over there. But sometimes I find myself thinking, what is coming in 2025, and am I prepared for it? And then I think, well, I don't know what's coming, so I don't know if I'm prepared for it. But I do know that resources are always available. So no matter what's happening with the conditions of the world, and there's a lot that we might be called to face or to rise to or to meet this moment. But no matter what is going on, I know that we have resources. And these resources include friends, people that you can tell them anything, they'll let you cry on their shoulder, they'll cheer with you, they'll celebrate with you, that you can be your real, true, authentic self. We've got, of course, teachings. There's plenty of books and videos and podcasts and just all kinds of supportive information out there. And maybe most importantly, we have our principles. We have the principles on which we build our lives. We have unity principles, there's other teachings, and these principles are not erratic. They're not capricious. They don't change like the weather. So no matter what's going on, we know that we can build our lives on this firm foundation. And I really appreciate this. And a concept that I've come across recently in a couple different ways is this concept of a library of wisdom. A library of wisdom. And I love this because I love libraries. When I was a kid and I got my first library card, I was just so happy and so proud I could go down to the little branch and check out any books and take them home and read them, and I just love that. And when I visit cities, especially these old cities, I love going to the most prominent, most famous library in town. It's usually in a great historic location, a beautiful building, fabulous architecture, sculpture, just amazing places. And I also like going to libraries in little towns. It's just so cute when the towns have a library, and they're usually volunteers there, and it's just resources, not just books, but you can go to these libraries and exchange information and learn. So I love this idea, and there's a teacher that I've been working with for 6 years or so. I collaborate to help him bring forth his work into the world, and so far, in 6+ years of working with him, I've never been able to stump him with a spiritual question or a question about human behavior or concepts or anything. But sometimes when I ask him a question, there's a period of silence, and I've learned just to be quiet and wait. I don't need to chatter and fill that space. And recently I asked him, what's going on in that time between I ask a question or I ask for clarification, and then he provides an answer. And he said, well, I'm going to the library, I'm finding the book, I open the book and I find the passage, and that's what I speak. I like that idea. I like libraries. And then recently I was listening to a podcast series, and they were talking about how scientists and researchers are mystified about how some people know information, and the researchers and scientists have no idea how these people know this information. And when they were talking to, it was about telepathy actually, they were talking to these people, and they were saying, it's a library of wisdom, a library of consciousness. We just go there and we just get the information. It's available to everyone all the time. And so I really like this idea. It's a resource that we can tap into. And there's two professors that have ideas that go along with this. And one is Carl Jung from the field of psychology. And his idea was the collective unconscious, that there is a reservoir, a storehouse of themes and symbols and images that hold true, that resonate across all cultures, all times. And these are symbols like the hero, the shadow, the wise old woman, or the wise old man. And these show up in dreams, they show up in myths, they show up in stories, new and old. So even new stories can tap into these universal themes, this universal wisdom, these archetypes that again hold true across all cultures all over the globe. And another professor who has an idea about a storehouse is from the field of biology, and it's Rupert Sheldrake. He's alive and working today. He's got lots of videos and things. And he came up with this term, morphic resonance. By morphic resonance, he means we all exist in a field of energy. And anything we do affects that field, and this field is always accessible. It's a field of energy that we all live in. And one way that he wants to test his idea, which hasn't been done in a scientific way yet, but daily puzzles should get easier later in the day as more people have solved them. So if you're doing Wordle, and if you're tapped into this storehouse of wisdom and knowledge and memory, then later in the day the puzzle should be easier. Same with the New York Times crossword puzzle or any other puzzle that people are solving. And another way that scientists and researchers look at this is animals who are isolated in one part of the world. If they learn a behavior, if they take up a new practice like monkeys washing sweet potatoes, then that spreads across the planet and other groups start doing that same behavior, and the scientists are puzzled. How is this happening? They actually have studied rats in one part of the world learn a maze, and then in another part of the world, no contact, the maze is easier. They learn it faster. So that's this idea of morphic resonance. Again, a universal storehouse, a repository, a reservoir that we all can access this energy. So I like this idea because it means that there's no individual experience. Everything we experience affects the whole. That we're all part of this integrated web, and we know this as unity. And here are ramifications. There's a lot of noise and chatter and disorder and disinformation and havoc out there in the world. Do I want to contribute to that? No, I don't. I want to think consciously. I want to consciously use my words, my conversations, my focus, my energy, my attention to contribute some value to this universal storehouse of consciousness. So to meet a responsibility, I need to be in shape to do so. I need to be in shape to meet my duties and responsibilities. Now, I don't really like the words duties and responsibilities. I'm kind of rebellious. I like to do my own thing. But one way that I understand this is a lot of times when we talk about duties and responsibilities, we're talking about expectations people have put upon us or responsibilities that people are expecting from us. But I think the actual duties and responsibilities that we have are to be our highest best self. In other words, my responsibilities and duties are to me, not my ego, individual, personal self, but my highest self, so that we can be the most healed, transformed, actualized, fulfilled beings that we came here to be. And what duties and responsibilities can I fulfill that will help, not just me, but then other people? Because again, if we do some healing work, if we do our transformation work, that affects the whole. It affects the energy of everyone. So I was a Girl Scout. They taught us the buddy system. That means just go somewhere with a buddy, let a buddy know. And we have spiritual buddies, right? We can have spiritual buddies who walk this path with us, who help us learn these principles and do these practices. And so whatever duties and responsibilities we want to take on for being fulfilled, being healed, being transformed, bringing more light and love into the world, these resources will help us. Our spiritual buddies, community, the teachings. It's just so good to be part of a community. I don't know how people do life without that, honestly. So what is coming in 2025? Well, there's a lot of different ways that things could go. Professional forecasters, they even have quite differing opinions about the pathway that will be chosen or that will be fulfilled. It's almost like we can live in dual realities at the same time. Because I know there's a lot of people on a pathway of fulfillment, love, compassion, understanding, awareness of oneness. And that these people, we're all joined consciously all across the globe, simultaneously, creating this energy, adding to this field, adding to the library of wisdom. And again, other people are doing their own thing. And we maybe, hopefully, don't have to be in that disorder with them. Because we know that there is order and grace and guidance available. So whatever is coming, we have resources available to meet the moment, to draw on these teachings, these resources, these principles. And a responsibility to ourselves to do the spiritual work, do the spiritual practices. Get in there and learn forgiveness, practice seeing the shadow, delving up what needs to be brought to light and bring it to light. So this is, I think, the task that I choose for 2025, not knowing what's coming, but feeling equipped because I know that we're not alone. We're not alone on the spiritual journey. We're not alone in this path. And that again, we're all adding to this reservoir, this storehouse of consciousness and knowledge and memory. And this is the source of inspiration, the source of invention and creativity. And we can all tap into it at any time. So that's why we do these meditations and practice stillness and prayer. Even singing, when we join our voices together, we're resonating, vibrating internally and in the room and then in the whole at large. So are we equipped? Are we prepared? No matter what's coming, there could be days that are going to be predictable. There's going to be days that are steadfast, that you're just going about your life, that you know what's coming. And then there's going to be surprises. We know this because that's just how life works. And some of these surprises are going to feel like possibilities are closing. They're going to be challenging. And some of the surprises are going to be like possibilities are opening. They're going to be exciting. But again, no matter what days we're having, the predictable or the surprising, we know that we've got other resources all across the globe coming together with focus and energy and insight and commitment. And that's what we're here to do, to allow that light to come forth through us as us. Amen? Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.